break up that relationship, the legal divorce, that is. And because this is a legal process that involves, planning, etc., we want to go through a lot of those things to help you, if you will, as you think about what you might have to do in terms of communicating with the kids. Okay?
That's right. So, again, we're going to be talking about communicating with your kids about divorce.
As a backdrop, I want to point out that good communications is critical because, if during the process you're communicating accurate information about the process, the kids tend to know what's going on. They don't feel insecure.
Right. We need to be avoiding any negative comments or criticism at this particular time.
Too many parents, they want to offload all these negative things about their ex-partner, and that just doesn't need to be done. It doesn't help the kids at all. And then finally, understand that you need to be patient when explaining what that process is because, depending on the age of your children, they may not be able to comprehend all the information.
Right.
So keep it simple.
Keep it simple and be prepared to repeat it.
So let's go ahead and move on to the idea of divorce and just how to tell your children about what's happening.
Yeah. I get lots of questions about how do I tell them?
How do I tell them? What do I do? Where do I start?
And one of the things that you should think about doing is really write out on a piece of paper exactly what it is you want to tell the children.
The reason you do that is because so many times, your mind slips, you get tangential, you go off a different direction. But also, once you've written it out, decide when and where you want to talk to the kids.
Right. When is an appropriate time? What is an appropriate place?
You don't want to go to Burger King or McDonald's or some other fast food restaurant with lots of people. You want to make sure that it's a quiet place with no distractions. Also, if you will, when you tell the children, present a well thought out explanation of the rationale behind the breakup.
Right.
It's important that you don't get into any type of blaming, any type of name calling. Just explain to them how you've come to this decision and why you've made this decision.
Right. Explain your decision objectively and without finger pointing. I see lots of finger pointing, and there should be none of that. You, she, your dad, your mom, none of that. No finger pointing. And
then finally, I know it's difficult, but understand that the idea of talking to your children is to open up communications and to discuss this thing that's about to occur in ways that are positive, that are constructive, that they understand this isn't a rash decision. It's been well thought of, but we want to open up communications and we want you to know that this is what's going to happen.
That's
now,
right.
That said, the idea about how to tell your children, let's get to some of these other issues about, don't allow the children to blame themselves for the divorce.
Yes. The first thing that will jump to their mind is that they are responsible. So we need to make sure that the kids know they are not responsible.
So many times we see the children, they're torn up. The idea that the family is broken, the idea that that mom and dad are no longer here. And in a very primitive way, they find a way to blame themselves. Gee, if me and my sister or brother hadn't been arguing, or if we had been better kids. Okay, so you need to be sure that they understand it. When they do express this guilt, you need to remind them again of the reasons why we're doing this, and you're going to repeat it and repeat it and repeat it because children, they have this way of they've heard you today, but then tomorrow they wake up, their stomach hurts, they've got anxiety thing, and they say it all over again.
They don't know how to look at you necessarily and say, please tell me it'll be okay. But when they come out with some of this guilt, if I'd been better mom, I know, we need to deal with that, because that is their way at times of asking for you to reassure them that it is going to be okay.
Reassure them. And deal with those negative emotions when they occur as quickly as possible.
Right.
So many parents, they just don't, they feel uncomfortable. They want to sidestep it. They want to put it off. Don't do that. When these negative emotions come up, you've got to work with it. And if you don't know what to do, then contact somebody in a professional manner that might give you some suggestions, okay?
Right. And then finally, we need to periodically be checking with the kids about how are you doing and how are things going in your world, because their world is very different from our world as adults getting out of a relationship or a marriage, and they worry about different things that we may not always be aware of if we don't stop to ask.
Ask specific questions, how are you doing in school? Are you enjoying your friends? If you're the non-custodial parent and you're the parent that gets to see the children every other week or so, then you want to be a little bit more about, how are they doing with their free time? Are they involved in games or football or karate, whatever? And it requires you to do a certain amount of what I call detective questioning, okay? But as a backdrop to all this, I want you to be aware that there are stages of development that have to do with the ability of your children to just comprehend and understand what's going on. Okay.
Right. Right. The age of the children dictate the level of the emotional issues and the topics that can be discussed, as well as how they can be discussed.
So, what Carrie's saying is, a 3-year-old obviously can't comprehend very much, but a 13-year-old, yeah. Mm-hmm. So just the awareness that a child is developing. For me, I think a lot of parents, they feel like they blink their eyes and their child went from 5 to 9, and yet that 4 years is a huge difference in what they can comprehend.
That's right.
Pace, not speed. Pace, not speed. The information that you're providing needs to be methodical, needs to be a matter of process. You're not going to be able to sit down and talk about it all at one time.
No.
You may have to spread it out over a period of time. It's very possible that at 4 years old, you say what you need to say to get them to that level of understanding. Right. But, in 6 months, you're saying it all over again.
That's right. And then finally, we need to prioritize. The most important issues should be discussed first. And that may be, how do I get a hold of you now that you don't live in the house? Where's your phone number? That may be a real important issue. Here's how you get a hold of me. When will I see you again? Where's my dog going to go? I mean, kids just have all kinds of different things that for them are priority, and we need to be sure we're addressing
make sure
the priorities in order. You do have somewhere to live, and you do have a way to get a hold of me, and you do have a way to get a hold of your mom or dad.
I want to move us on to one big topic that I believe that it's so important. It is no partner bashing. No partner bashing. And what I'm saying is that any derogatory comments that are said hurt the child. And they hurt the child because I like to remind everybody, A plus B is not equal to C. A plus B is equal to AB.
Right.
Your child is different from you in the sense that your child is made up of a combination of genetics from both mom and dad. Mm-hmm. So it affects them. Their relationship with mom or dad is lifelong. Mm-hmm. You say anything bad about one partner, you're going to hold them hostage to their own genetic makeup.
Right. Derogatory comments. Kids can internalize these comments, and this can cause more problems down the road.
Yeah. Sometimes they shut down. They'll keep quiet. They don't know what to say when they hear the bashing. So they sit there and keep quiet, and you may not be able to interpret that the child is feeling, uncomfortable.
That's right.
And then finally, understand that divorce is an adult problem. Keep the kids out of it.
And what do we mean by an adult problem? Well, here's some of the stuff we deal with getting a divorce. The division of the property. Do we sell the house, or do one of us get to keep the house? Mm-hmm. The estate. Where's the money go? Who gets what car?
Where's the car? Yeah.
Those are the things we worry
about.
Furniture,
yeah.
Child custody is one of these issues. Where's the child going to be? How much of the time? How's that going to work? And then child support. How are we going to finance the life of this child separately?
Separately and beyond. We have a lot of parents that, wow, now my son is 21 and in college, and I still have that responsibility.